Now it's time for our Work Life segment, and this week we're looking at how our addiction to digital devices is rewiring our brains.
Rewiring our brains for good or for evil, though. Technology is changing the way we have relationships, how we learn. It's even distracting us from during life-threatening situations. Have a look.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes ago, the bear left the clearing in the backyard there, and he made his way over to the driveway over on Mayfield. He came down that driveway, down Mayfield, and now he's on Briggs, and now it looks like he's turning into another driveway here. We're going to kind of maneuver around and see if we can get another shot of him. But yeah, he would definitely.
Right there.
Okay, we got someone resident there.
Yeah.
OK, now we're not saying that if you walk down the street texting you'll necessarily be confronted by a bear, although clearly it is possible. Joining us now to discuss digital device distraction is performance coach Andrew May. Andrew, good morning.
Good morning. I think Michael needs to take a breath. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, he's enjoyed that enormously.
Yeah,
Just see how quickly he did the pivot.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? Yeah, that's right.
The commentator, oh my God, he's seen the bear and he takes off. But while we laugh...
It's more this, I think, that is the comedy. It's the fact looking down, face down on your screen.
Texting. He's going to meet up
as we see again and again and again.
And he looks up to see not
oh,
a
goodness
human,
me,
but... Oh my God.
Must not look at my phone. We showed some footage before of people walking into poles and falling downstairs, and it happened to me yesterday where someone came around the corner where they were texting and they collided with me. I can't imagine walking around, taking a corner and texting at the same time. It's an odd thing, isn't it?
It is, and while we laugh about it, at the extreme level, it's putting our lives at risk. And there's incidents where people have died. There's a really sad example. There's a 15-year-old schoolgirl in America back in 2012 who was walking across the road texting, and she got hit by a car. So her mum has set up a foundation called the Moment of Silence Foundation for young teenagers to really be mindful before they cross a road. So you see examples like that, we laugh. The footage you're playing about people walking into poles, but the extreme level, putting our lives at risk. But day-to-day level, what's it doing to our concentration? It's fragmenting our concentration. We're not noticing stuff around us.
Yeah, it's become all-consuming. How many hours a day, I mean, reports have been done on this, are we on average spending on our mobile phones?
This is scary. There's a digital report recently, Mike, showing we're connected about 18 hours a day. So not connected the whole time, but from our moment we first go onto our mobile phones until morning tea and big lunch and afternoon tea through to dinner, 18 plus hours a day.
So that's 6 hours sleep, if you're lucky.
Well, a lot of teenagers as well have got sleep deprivation, a lot of adults, because, you know, we check the mobile before we go to bed and it wakes us up. So we need to get, like, I'm for technology, run with it, but it can't control our lives.
So how many, there we go, people checking their phones 150 times a day. Again, that's an average, and that's from Telstra. That's their own figures there, and I guess Telstra would be mighty happy about that because they'd like us to be checking 150 times a day, plus, probably. Look, I mean, that's the thing. You acknowledge there technology is in our life and you're all for technology, in a sense that the brain rewiring might just be part of our evolution.
Yeah, there's some of the neuroscientists saying that we are changing the wiring of the brain on a basic scale for young kids.
But if our brains evolved and changed as a result of, say, developing tools, which was the original beginning of technology, when we sharpened a flint and decided we could use that, a brain change occurred over time there. Doesn't there have to be a general degree of acceptance that this is also going to be a brain change that is just part of human evolution? I
think there's two sides. I think it's showing young kids are able to adapt a little bit more, so they might be able to study with some music on, whereas people our generation, like, I can do one thing only. Yeah. But our brains haven't evolved that much that we can multitask at a high level. We still...
That when we can take calls and texts, yes.
Yeah. But that cognitive functioning, so the executive decision-making, we can't multitask at a high level. And have you heard the story about the clown on the unicycle? Sounds like one of Michael's jokes, doesn't it? But they did study at Western Washington University a couple of years ago, and they had this clown on a unicycle going through the quadrangle. We've got some footage here. And only 8% of people who are walking along texting or talking on their phones, when they asked them, did you see the clown on the unicycle? They went, huh? Only 8% of people saw that. Yep. So
it speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Absolutely distracting us. So, Virginia, yes, we need to adapt in some ways and acknowledge. This guy here is going,
yeah, any old day on campus.
No, he's wondering, was that virtual reality? Did that just pop out of my computer as a hologram?
This new game's awesome.
Yeah, it's 3D.
So we need to adapt and understand technology helps us grow and evolve and change. But at the basics on this segment is don't be connected all the time. It's destroying relationships, and there's studies as well now showing we have IAD, Internet Addiction Disorder. The same pathways in the brain that light up with addiction to drugs and alcohol and gambling is exactly the same with internet addiction.
Have
It's
you got
scary.
tips for breaking this awful habit?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about you laughing still at the start. So
he's addicted.
that's number
addicted to
one.
sight gags. Yeah, but are there ways you can seriously wean yourself off spending 118 hours a day on your phone?
Number one is break the habit. So if you're watching this at home at the moment and you've been toggling on multiple screens, you have an internet addiction.
Yeah, leave us on and turn that off.
Of course, just watch ABC News Breakfast. Number two, Mike, I attribute this to my mum. When we were growing up, she used to say, turn the TV off, kids. I do the same now with my kids, and we have technology-free meals. So, when we sit down as a family unit or even with friends, I do this with some of my mates who work in banking and finance, who are always texting and say, look, get off your device, let's catch up.
Put it down.
Yeah, otherwise, go and text me from your lounge room.
You can text from, other people's houses and enjoy a moment of silence was the last tip.
Yeah, look, I may be showing my age, but I think we need to embrace silence, and there's times where we need to be connected, but enjoy the silence. I travel a lot, and I watch people. Every time I'm at a bus station, a train station, we're like this, right? We're like cavemen hunched over. Embrace silence. Like, look around you.
Deep
look at
breaths,
nature.
enjoy your surrounds, look at a beautiful tree.
Look at the clown on the unicycle.
Why is that funny?
You're my clown on a unicycle this morning, Michael. No, I don't think it's funny, but I think I reckon in 10 years' time we'd be having a slightly different conversation. I reckon we will have incorporated technology to such a degree that it actually will be even more deeply part of our lives, and this discussion will be irrelevant. I know what you're saying, but I actually think humans are going to adapt to what we have, and that connection and being present will actually just take a different form, but via technology.
I want to hold this to 10 years. We're going to have a little comeback in 10 years.
You're on.
The problem is, we won't have the attention spans of 10 years.
What?
Time to have a discussion like this.
one last
Seriously.
thing.
I think all that will evolve.
You reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no going back from this.
Our bodies aren't catching up. Because
Adrian, do you know there's no going back
You're
from this?
about to wind me up. But we put a heart rate monitor on your good partner here, and we looked at what happens with technology before bed. And so while we may be accelerating, our bodies aren't. We need a certain amount of rest.
His heart will evolve.
You are
The
so harsh.
heart of him to a heart's person in 25 years' time will be different. Just like a young person's dexterity of my thumbs versus their thumbs, totally different. It's evolved.
Agree on the dexterity? Putting my hand up, line in the sand, coming back in 10 years, we will watch this space.
Andrew, we will do that then.
Yes.
Thanks so much. And we'd love to know your view as well. I think this is a very interesting argument. So
Thank you, Dr. Trioli.
Let's see where you line up. No, I'm just a bit more optimistic about technology than you guys.
Okay, rightio. We'll see.